Good evening, good evening, good evening. Special Martin Luther King Day, A Better You lifestyle. I wanted to do this today. I was supposed to do this show yesterday. Normally, we do this program on Sundays at 8 o'clock p.m. And we normally start out with the first week of every month with A Better You lifestyle, Understanding Your You. Second week is A Mother's Love, where we talk about how we can help our children to be more successful every day in life and how to make them more financially successful as well. Teaching them early about financial literacy and how to save money and how to make money and even creating their own businesses and opportunities for themselves. Our third week is Financially You, which is where we are today. And then on our fourth week is Making Your House Your Home. Today, we're doing a special presentation on Financially You. I wanted to do it today, not only for recognition of Martin Luther King Day, but I also wanted to do it because I want to share a few things. And it's not going to be long today because I want to just kind of get you guys going. Every month on this third week, we're going to do something to help you to be more financially fit in your life and to create generational wealth for yourself and your families. So today we're going to start out with, I have a question for you. How many of you guys are working a 9-to-5 job and you love it? Raise your hand if you think, if that's what you're doing, you're working a 9-to-5 job and you love your job, raise your hand. You love what you do. Second question. How many of you guys can see yourself loving and working that job for the next 30 plus years? If that's you, fine too. But what are you doing to offset that in case something happened to you and you can't work that 9-to-5 job? Say you're only working the next 10 years or next 15 years and you get laid off or the company shuts down or you get injured and can't work anymore. What are you doing to offset that income if it ends up suddenly being lost? That's what we're talking about today. Financially You, how to start putting things in perspective and preparing yourself just in case. Because I don't wish anybody to lose their job or their company shuts down or get injured and can't do it, whatever it is they enjoy doing. But the point is, what are you doing just to be on the safe side? What are you doing to prepare yourself for that? And a lot of people don't think about that. I remember growing up, and we had a lot of people who in Western New York, where I live, working at the plants, the steel plants, the steel mills, the Tonawanda Cokes, the auto plants, the sugar plants. I mean, there was so many different companies that people had where it was manufacturing and industrial plants all throughout Western New York. Oxy plant, which is here in Niagara Falls. There's a couple plants, paint companies, different companies, all these industrial plants hiring thousands of people. And that's why people were moving to the north, because there was so many industrial plants in Detroit. It was the car, Ford Motor Company. And so you had a lot of people moving to Detroit, to work in the plants. You had thousands and thousands of people. Those kind of jobs are gone now. So those people who started out in those plants, and then they would, instead of their kids going to college, a lot of them got their kids, especially their sons, into the plants. So then the sons are working in the plants, and then some daughters working in the plants. And so that's what you end up having, was a lot of people were working into the plants. But those kind of jobs are gone now. Everything is more automated, so they don't need as many workers. And then you have everything now where you have people working more in offices, more, kids are going to college and working, as consultants and counselors, and so different things like that. So those industrial jobs and those jobs that were lasting 20 and 30 years and 40 years are gone now. So what are you doing to prepare yourself to do, in case something like that happens where your job shuts down and you no longer have that opportunity to have that job? What are you doing differently? I just need to change something real quick, people. So I'm going to change this so I can kind of see. Okay, there we go. I had to change something. All right. So now I can see what I'm doing here. So what are you doing? What are you doing differently that allows you to just want to type something just to see if it shows up. Okay. All right. So what are you doing differently? We're going to be doing this the next 12 months. We're going to do every month, we're going to do something financially you, and starting with January. And we're going to talk about how you can create generational wealth for yourself and your families. So, what we're going to be doing first, we're going to look at some things. Savings. How many of you people are saving money? How many of you have a account, not your checking account and not your regular savings account, but a separate saving account, a separate savings where all you do is just put money in that? And right now I'm talking about savings, but I actually don't want to get into savings. It's something else I want to talk about later, but we're going to start out with savings. We're going to do a savings account because this is something that you can start out with your kids doing also. So how many of you guys actually have a savings account that all you do is put money into it to save? Or have, like I do in my programs, I give kids a shoebox because they all have Nike sneakers, and I have them tape up that shoebox, cut a slit in the top, and then I tell them every time they get some money, you take 10% of whatever you get and you put it in that shoebox. And then you put that shoebox in the closet or under your bed. And that's what I do with the kids in my program, starting them out, learning how to save. How many of you guys as adults, when you get your paycheck, you pay yourself first? And I mean taking that money that you're going to pay yourself first. And I say 10%. And I always say 10% is a good start point because it makes me think of churches. You got a lot of people that will take 10% of their pay or their earnings and give it to the church, and then don't even give 10% to themselves. So I believe if you're giving 10% of anything, you should always pay yourself first before you pay anybody else, even the church. And some churches might get upset with me, but if I don't even want to get into churches and 10% of tithing, but I always tell my students in my program, you want to pay yourself 10% because that's what churches do. Churches only ask you for 10%. And some people willingly give it. So why not willingly give yourself 10% before you do anything else, before you pay any bills, before you do anything? That right there is going to start you on that path to savings. Because if you pay yourself that 10% first and you put it in a bank account or you put it in a shoebox or wherever you put it in, now that leaves you whatever that 90% to do whatever you need to do. Pay bills, go out, whatever, dinner, movies, entertainment, groceries, whatever. But you've already saved 10%. So now that's going to help you to start cutting down on some of the things you do because you've already taken that 10% out and put it aside where you're not going to touch it. And you're not going to touch that for 6 to 12 months. Now, I would say 12 months, but I'm going to say 6 to 12 months because in 6 months, you may want to check it and see what you have in there. If it's in the shoebox, if you're using the shoebox at home. If you're in the bank, you already know what's in there because you can see it. But the goal is not to touch it. Not even after a year, unless it's an emergency. This is like creating an emergency fund. You have people to say to you, all right, how you should have 3 to 6 months money saved aside just in case of an emergency. I'm saying you're not going to touch this 10% for at least the first year. And after that first year, I'm going to tell you what I want you to do with that 10% that you've been saving over that year. That's why you're not going to touch it for that 6 months to 10 to a year. And since we're starting in January, I'm saying a year. You're not going to touch that money for a year. And at the end of the year in January, I'm going to tell you what I want you to do with that money that you saved up because you're going to do something with it. Okay. So that's the first thing you want to do. You want to start saving before you do anything else. You're preparing for just the case of an emergency. That's what you're preparing for. Just in case of an emergency, that something happens and that 9 to 5 job that has been paying your bills and everything else is gone away in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever. If it goes away, you're going to be saving this 10% over that time frame, that first year. And at the end of when December comes, we're going to talk about what you're going to do with that 10%. Second thing, you're going to create or find a budget sheet online or create a budget sheet online that shows every month. And you're going to do every month with this. You're going to do a monthly budget, and you're going to show what your income was. You're going to put the 10% that you put in. You're going to put that under, you can put under expenses if you want, but you're going to put it somewhere showing that you paid that 10%, how much you put in there. And then you're going to put all your bills down, all your expenses down, all your entertainment down. Everything you did for that month, you're going to put down on that sheet. Every single month from January to December. And we're going to do that every day, every month until December. And then I'm going to explain to you what you're going to do with that as well at the 6-month period. 6-month period and the 12-month period. But right now, I need you to go out and get a budget sheet, create a budget sheet, whatever the case may be, but you're going to put in whatever income you have at the top, and then you're going to put in all your expenses underneath that. And then with those expenses, you're going to hopefully, if you're not use Excel, you can create your own budget sheet. I create my own budget sheets. I've been doing it for years. But you want to create a budget sheet where whatever your income is, you can have a total at the bottom of your expenses, and then another total that shows you what your profit and loss is. So it'll show you how much of your income you have at the end of that month that you should have available. And then you can even put a separate section for that 10% that you've been putting in every month. And then that shows you the total of that at the end of the month as well. So you can do a separate, instead of putting that under expenses, you can actually put it in a separate line. And then that way it shows you the total of that, that 10% you've been saving for that month. And then at the end of the year, you'll be able to look at that as well and see what you saved each month, and then what you saved after 12 months, and see how it matches up and how it shows for you. And then that doesn't mean you don't keep saving in your regular savings account. You don't keep putting money in your checking account. It doesn't mean you don't do that. It just means that this 10% that we have earmarked for December, we're going to put into an account or into a shoebox, whatever we're going to put it in. And that's what we're going to do for the next 12 months. What else are we doing? That makes sense. Okay, so that's basically it. Like I said, I wasn't going to be long today. I wanted to do this, and I had some things to do yesterday too, and that's why I didn't want to do it yesterday, because I was rushing around. But I wanted to do this today because I want to take this opportunity to really focus on helping people to create wealth and generational wealth. I don't want anybody to be rich. We talk about, I do this in my program, and I always talk about my program because what I'm doing with you is what I do with my kids in my programs. And I'm not trying to teach anybody to be rich. I don't want anybody to be rich. I want to teach you how to be wealthy. I want to show you how to create generational wealth for you, your family, your kids, and be able to teach them so that way they can pass it on to their families and their kids. And then it becomes generational because everybody's teaching everybody, learning how to manage and control and make money work for you instead of you working for money. So that 10, 15, 20, 25 years, 30 years, just in case that doesn't happen, you'll have this money that you're going to create generational wealth from. But it all starts with that 10% that you're going to put into that separate savings account or into that shoebox. Every single time you get some money, you're putting 10% into one of those areas. You may have a separate savings and a shoebox, just in case you get some money that doesn't come through regular forms, and you can just put it into that shoebox and you'll have it available and put that total together in December. Whatever you decide, that's what we're going to do. A better you lifestyle, better physical, better personal, better financial. This is Financially You. I'm your host, Willie A. Price. Willie A. Price Speaks. And this is all from A Better You Lifestyle. Again, I will see you guys next week. Next Sunday, we'll be on for Making Your House Your Home, where we're going to talk about real estate and buying homes. And I'm going to have on a special speaker. She's supposed to come on with us next Sunday at 8 o'clock. So we're going to bring on a special speaker that's going to talk about housing and the importance of being a first-time home buyer or a home buyer in general. And we're going to talk about that. And so we're going to have her come on the show as well. So again, you guys have a blessed day. Enjoy Martin Luther King Day. And this is a great way to celebrate by starting and saving your own money and creating generational wealth for yourself. Have a blessed day and see you next week.